Coming up on Mountain News this morning, family and friends gather to say goodbye to a Pike County man killed in a storm last week in Prestonsburg. And the water continues to rise along major rivers in the Midwest, leading to destruction in several communities. And 2 firefighters die within hours of each other in Pennsylvania. We'll tell you what we know so far.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning and happy Monday to you. The time is about 5:59. Let's check in with Brandon Robinson for a look at your much cooler forecast this morning. Brandon?
Yeah, it is, Connor, and we're going to continue to see that cooler weather for the first half of the week, basically all week long. But again, some big changes as we head deeper into the week, especially toward Wednesday and beyond. But first, let's focus on this morning. We go to Stonecrest Golf Course in Prestonsburg. Maybe a few little high clouds there this morning. Daylight starting to roll in there. Shouldn't be seeing too much, and all that will be moved out as we head deeper in the morning up on top of US 119, Whitesburg Pine Mountain. I was up there on top Friday night, and I tell you, it's a beautiful scene up there, and we're going to continue to see that nice weather as we head into the first part of this week. Logan, back to 10 miles visibility, but you can see it's back and forth there, so low visibility in some spots. Be careful. Temperatures in the 50s now across most of the region. A couple of 60s trying to hang on. London, Monticello, Middlesboro, and Jacksboro, but everybody else kind of dropped out there. 73 this afternoon, a little bit of a north breeze, but overall some fog and some sun. It's going to be a very nice day to start the first full week of June. Full forecast on the way in just a few minutes. Connor?
All right, thanks, Brandon. Family and friends said their final goodbyes on Sunday to Michael Coleman. He was the man who died after a storm tore through downtown Prestonsburg last week, sending parts of a roof of a building crashing down onto his truck. WYMT's Buddy Forbes talked to his loved ones who say they will never forget the man he was.
So precious did that grace appear.
There are some things you can never be prepared for.
We was in shock.
For the family of Michael Coleman, one of those things happened last Wednesday. A storm ripped off the roof of a building in Prestonsburg, and it landed on Coleman's car.
I'll see him again one day.
Sunday afternoon, loved ones came together, remembering who he was.
He was funny, you know. A lot of people didn't know how to take Mike because he had an attitude. He just liked to prank with you and stuff.
Loved ones
He would have done it for us.
choked back tears at his funeral,
He was like a dad to me.
saying he was the most giving person they knew.
Michael was a good man. He was always there for whoever needed him.
For that reason, a group of them wanted to do one last thing for him.
We dug the grave.
They say the hole he left behind
I drive by his place every day. It's just not going to be the same without him sitting on a tailgate in his garden.
can now only be filled with memories. In Pike County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Coleman was buried in the James Family Cemetery because people there say he was like family. Evacuations are underway this morning following the breach of a levee in the Mississippi River in Missouri. Officials in the city of Winfield say the Pin Oak levee was overtopped early Sunday morning, and the breach happened yesterday afternoon. Lincoln County emergency leaders said the breach is about 100 feet wide and is growing. Much of the area along the river has been flooded due to recent heavy rainfall. And flooding continues to make headlines across other parts of the Midwest this morning. In Little Rock, the Arkansas River has reached its highest point since 1945, and that water is only expected to rise. First responders are warning people the water is full of debris, snakes, and other contaminants and is best viewed from a distance.
We're a lot higher up than we look like we are over here, and we're way higher up than the north side of the river, and so we're really lucky that we're not being severely impacted by this. I know that river looks high and ferocious, but it's going to make for a great backdrop.
With the river expected to crest in Little Rock later this week, Public Works officials are keeping an eye on several areas throughout the city and say they present some concerns. Meanwhile, that floodwater from the Arkansas River continues to impact thousands of homes and businesses. One family told CNN affiliate KARK that they're doing everything they can to protect their home.
This is the routine for Todd Patton and his family before he takes us down what used to be Patton Road in Wooster.
Well, I've lived here my whole life, and I've seen it over that road 3 times.
A About a half a mile later, we arrive at his house.
I grew up on this creek right out here. I've seen it out of its banks 1,000 times, but nothing ever like this.
This basketball goal and even their swimming pool.
You see this stuff all the time on TV, but you don't think it'll ever happen to you.
Surrounded by 40 inches of floodwater from the Arkansas River.
Here we are. It happened to us.
This photo shows what it looks like from a bird's eye view.
I mean, we've worked so hard trying to get this out of the house.
They started building this wall around the home with help from the community.
A bunch of people showed up, and we just went to moving blocks. It took about 5 hours.
They've also moved thousands of sandbags.
For 3 or 4 days, we have been re-sandbagging and sandbagging on top of sandbags.
And using these generators for an extra layer of protection.
We don't have flood insurance. And we're just trying to keep it out of the house.
With more long days ahead, the Pattons are hoping it will soon be over.
Never dreamed that it would be anything like this.
As communities across Florida continue to wait on disaster funding following Hurricane Michael, one house in Mexico Beach left virtually untouched by the storm is becoming a beacon of hope. According to an article from the New York Times, the house is referred to as the Sand Palace of Mexico Beach. It was built with a hurricane like Michael in mind. The owners painstakingly built their dream house to withstand big storms. During the storm, they watched a security camera from their home back in Chattanooga, Tennessee, hoping all their work would pay off.
My biggest concern is that when the storm comes, can the house survive? So it's a concrete house, poured concrete, not blocks, but it's raised up on a platform. Those pilings are 40 feet long, and I wanted them 50 feet long, which is what they use for high rises, but it was going to cost too much to get them here. But we paid extra for 40-foot long pilings that are like 17 feet up or so. The rest of it is in the ground.
The architect of the house said building a home like they did roughly doubles the cost of the home per square foot compared to ordinary building practices. In other news, 2 off-duty Philadelphia firefighters are dead this morning. Officials with the department confirm that one of them died while competing in a triathlon in Cape May, New Jersey, Sunday afternoon. It's unclear how that firefighter, who has not been identified, died. Another firefighter with the department, who was also not identified, died Sunday morning from long-term medical issues. And typically, when high school seniors walk across the stage at graduation, they're given a diploma. For one Estill County graduate, though, he was given an even better surprise.
So on behalf of the Commissioner of the Kentucky State Police, it is my honor and privilege to present to you this certificate declaring you an honorary Kentucky State Trooper.
Trooper Leslie Strong surprised 20-year-old Dakota Glasson with a certificate declaring him an honorary Kentucky State Trooper. Glasson then traded his grad camp for the trooper's hat. Trooper Strong says she worked with Glasson's school to surprise him. It's a great story. 2 hikers in Southwest Virginia are safe this morning after being reported missing on Sunday. Officials with the Blackmore Volunteer Fire Department posted on their Facebook page. The hikers got lost off High Knob Road near the Wise County line. Crews from several departments responded and were able to locate them. The hikers were thankfully not injured. And we have a traffic alert to pass along to you this morning. Officials with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet tell WYMT a portion of Highway 3447 in Jackson County will be closed today. The closing will affect areas between milepoints 3.4 and 5 from 8:30 this morning until 5 this afternoon. Crews will be replacing a cross drain. Drivers are advised to avoid the area. And the second day of the 5th annual Casting for Kids fishing tournament wrapped up yesterday afternoon. Each year, hundreds of fishermen from across Kentucky and surrounding states come out to fish the tournament hosted by the Big Sandy Shrine Club. The adults are out on the lake. The children get to have a little tournament of their own too.
I mean, the adult weigh-in is, it's the big deal, but just like to see those little kids come across the stage with those little fish and interview them and see their reactions. That to me is the highlight of the tournament.
Money raised from the event will go towards transporting children in the Big Sandy area to and from the Children's Hospital. And First Assembly of God in Martin dedicated its morning service on Sunday to the opening of a youth center. The church held a chain-breaking ceremony In place of the usual ribbon cutting, members of the youth group wrote down some things they feel they could be a burden on their peers. They then used those things to create a paper chain. They broke through that chain as a way to symbolize the hopes they have for the future of the center.
They were super excited about it. They can't wait to get to hang out with everybody, learn about Jesus, but also get to have fellowship and hopefully, and prayerfully bring in people from this community.
Pastor Ray Davis says he wants the center to be used by all of the youth in the area, not just current members of the youth group.
Forecast this morning, not too bad. If you're looking for some precipitation, we had some last night around 10, 11 o'clock. All that moved down. But now it's the fog that's left in its wake. Let's take a look at the satellite radar for the last 6 hours, and not a whole lot on the loop, but you see that rain right there at the beginning moving through parts of southwest Virginia out of East Kentucky. Fog is thick and dense this morning, but it's starting to get more clustered down toward the Cumberland Valley now, so we'll keep a close eye on that. Temperatures struggling to stay in the 60s in some spots. Middlesboro, London, Monticello, Jacksboro. That's the only spots hanging on, down to 54 now in Moorhead and Ashland. Danville back to 50. They were in the upper 40s just a few minutes ago. Day planner for today, lots of sunshine, maybe just a few clouds, and temperatures topping out in the low 70s. Connor?
Thank you, Brandon, and thank you for joining Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Coming up, we take you to Pittsburgh for a delicate surgery to correct a condition that has affected thousands of people, including some here in the mountains. And we'll tell you about a new study that is showing promise for women with an advanced form of a particular cancer.